Welcome to the Spiritual Principles Made Practical podcast. I'm your host, Scott Friedman, and today I'm going to dig into, what do we need to do to value ourselves more? Because, what we see in the outer world is um, a reflection of what's going on internally. And for a lot of us in the spiritual realm, we feel that on the one hand, and I'm speaking for myself, that, I have value to offer far in excess of the audience I seem to attract. And so then so in that there's a discontinuity, right? And I want to dig into that and learn about that and see what I can heal in terms of that discontinuity. Because I mean, if you think about it, right, advancing win-win solutions, if you advance win-win solutions, there wouldn't be war, right? And then if there wasn't war, like what would the value to the world be if we didn't have war? Now, I mean, should we have war so that people can learn the hard way? Gee, I don't know. I mean, there's got to be a better way, right? And so, my feeling is that, just on that alone, the value of understanding that what we do to someone else, we do to ourselves, and therefore hurting someone else isn't what we want to do because it would be hurting ourselves. So the value of that is astronomical in our world, right? And you'd think that the world would be beating a path to the door to be able to embrace thinking and behavior that would have that kind of impact, right? And so then the question is like, well, okay, well, why not? Like, why isn't that happening? And because if we create our outer world as a reflection of our inner world, then what's going on in my inner world that keeps that, And I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's not safe. It's not safe to advance win-win thinking, and I keep coming back to, the great speakers of the world that have been assassinated, right? Gandhi, Martin Luther King, JFK. I mean, it's like yowzers, And so, the people that have, or at least a lot of them that have really tried to bring a lot of light into uh, the political realm, if you will, have been assassinated. And so but I felt like I addressed that by saying, yeah, you know what, there is uh, the ability to acknowledge evil, if you will, or threats, and take evasive action by uh, being able to acknowledge my own negativity, and that makes me able to recognize negativity that in the world, and that comes back to me. And if I can acknowledge and dodge my own or take evasive action on my own negativity, then I should be able to take evasive action on anybody like trying to shut me down, so to speak. But that hasn't really, it's kept me going, right? It's kept me from quitting for fear of what might happen to me, but it hasn't really reflected in the outer world that much. And it's like, okay, well, and so then the next thing that comes to mind is a thought that would work against that is that, you people need the opportunity to learn the really hard way. But if it's, my response to that is that, well, if the world is really a projection of my outer world understanding as a projection of my inner world understanding, then I should be able to create whatever world I want. And if I want a world where, there isn't, uh, you know, torture and child trafficking and, you know, just one sort of horrible, heinous, awful thing after another that humans do to humans. If I want to create a world where that's not there, and clearly I haven't succeeded in that, right? Then, am I taking the opportunity for growth and experience away from people? I mean, I know it sounds insane, right? But if you look at it from the standpoint that, everybody is experiencing what they're experiencing because that's a reflection of their innermost thinking, then, you know, and I mean, and I've learned things the hard way, not that hard a way, right? But, I mean, I've made mistakes and, I think about my first marriage where, I knew it was a mistake, but I did it anyway. And it's like, okay, so and I trace that back to, wanting to learn the hard way to make a deeper impression. And it's like, okay, so, so maybe is it, so maybe it's wrong to say, I want the world that I want to create without that stuff in it because, is it thinking that it might be taking away from the choices of other people to um, experience that? And I guess my response to that is that um, looking from a larger standpoint where I am the world, I still think that um, if I um, align more fully with being one with all things, then it is my world, and all those people are me. So there isn't anything outside of me, and all those people are me. And so I can create a universe, and that where that doesn't exist, where that kind of torture and just just awful treatment of human beings by human beings just doesn't exist anymore. And I believe that the way that the way to accomplish that is to be more and more honest with myself. That's the world I want to create. I want to create a happier, more loving, more joyful, more uplifting world. That's the world I want to create. Now, I mean, people say, well, that's a big lift. And it's like, well, yeah, it is, and, uh, if it's true, and I believe it is, that we have the power to accomplish whatever we're inspired to accomplish, well, then I have the power to do it because that's what I'm inspired to accomplish. As crazy and as outlandish and as narcissistic and whatever other descriptor you want to use, I still believe that, uh, it's possible. I um, believe that spontaneous sharing from a state of being can resonate light throughout the world and create that. And my mantra is I am the world, and that means that I am you and you are me and we're all together, right? The Beatles, I thought, really had it right. But in any event, I feel that that's of tremendous value and uplifting to the world. And obviously, I seem to be going to, a deeper perspective where, I am the world because the um, uh, part of my inspiration is that all I need to do to create the world that I want is to be more accepting of myself and what's true for me. And so I just need to keep doing that and keep holding true to that belief that if I can believe in and share and be enough of an example and integrate within myself enough win-win that uh, it will truly be reflected in the outer world. And I certainly believe that there's not only is there value in that, but there's value in even attempting it because uh, it gives strength and uh, confidence to some degree to people that have really big, giant, outlandish goals, right? And it's like, okay, you're not the only one with big, giant, outlandish goals, looking at it from that standpoint. And so so hopefully, my example of having this huge goal inspires other people to believe that they have the wherewithal to achieve their huge goals because and that the belief that we have the power to achieve anything, any goals that are important to us, that we have that power. The belief that we have that power is determinate. And so hopefully it will inspire other people in that regard. And that alone, should be of tremendous value, right? I mean, why wouldn't you want to be around people that inspired you to believe in yourself more? Of course. So anyway, that's where I've kind of gone to now in when I look at what do I need to accept within myself to uh, to value myself more and to see that value reflected back to me more in the world. And um, and I guess the last negative thing I can think of that is inhibiting that is that that idea that the belief that that power and that skill really isn't there, that I'm um, misinterpreting it somehow, and that if it were, but it just doesn't feel right to me. I just, I mean, I accept that part of me thinks that, well, if you haven't done it now, you'll never do it, and so on. But I have had so many things in my life that I thought were beyond me that I didn't know why were beyond me. I mean, I remember when I opened my business and I was like scared to death, right? And I didn't really know why. And in retrospect, it made no sense to me at all that I was so frightened about opening my own business. And but I mean, I was visibly shaking in fear. But in retrospect, I was like, well, what was the deal? And so I know from my own experience that, I mean, I wanted to have my own business for many years before I actually started my own business. And so, in all those years that the fear held me back, right? But I just kept at it, and it was important enough to me that I saw it through, and so I lean on that experience here to say, yeah, you know what, being able to share that we're all one, and that when we lift one up, we lift everybody up, and when we heal ourselves, we heal the world, and that there's a win-win solution to every problem. To believe all those things, which are all, different ways of saying the same thing, really, that uh, there have been other things in my life that I thought were, beyond my reach that I was able to do. And I expect that, even though I don't exactly see, how the specifics and relate to the specifics of how to do this, I certainly have enough energy behind it, right? And I certainly am not going to give up. I'm gonna succeed or die trying. So there you have it, and that's sort of my measure of whether or not I should engage in something. I mean, am I committed enough to it that I'm going to take the attitude that I'm going to succeed or die trying? I mean, I did that in creating my wife. I'm going to find somebody I really love who wants to marry me, or I'm going to die. That's the deal. And I'm going to create a world where the kindness and the wisdom and the love and the joy that I have to share is valued and accepted tremendously, or I'm going to die trying. So, I mean, one or the other. I'm either gonna succeed at sharing wisdom in a way that demonstrably uplifts the world, makes it a kinder, more loving, more creative, more beautiful, more wonderful, happier, more supportive place, very, very dramatically and noticeably, or I'm going to die trying. So there it is. And um, and I do believe that just my example of my commitment to identify what's really important to me and to put my entire self into it is an inspiring example to people. And so I'm happy about that too. And that's part of the value that I'm offering. So anyway, I offer thought coaching where it's tremendously uplifting because I help people identify what they're doing right that's working so that they can take ownership of it and do it more. And it's just hugely uplifting. And people are going like, "Oh my God, yeah, no, I did that. I didn't think of that." But I said, "Yep, you've done it, and you've done it repeatedly, and you just shared with me how you did it, and you're capable of doing as much more of that as you want." So anyway, if that's of interest to you, contact me for coaching at scottfriedman40@gmail.com, ScottFriedman40@gmail.com. My books are available on Amazon. You can find links to them on my website, www.thoughtcoachingbyscott.com. All right, so go and identify what you believe in and throw yourself into it with everything you've got. It's the way to get the most out of life. All right, bye.